everyone, welcome to a new video. I am actually really excited for this video, so I'm gonna keep this intro short. So about a year ago, I started filming this dress that I wanted to make for a music video. Unfortunately, I ended up gaining weight and going through a lot of stuff that the dress didn't fit anymore. So I just had this dress sitting around, too small for me, and it was actually a dress to represent a part of my story, and I'm going to share with you guys the story while I make the dress. So this is a very relaxing storytelling, watch me make a dress type of video. I truly hope you guys enjoy it. At the very end, I actually had a friend model it for me, and I remade the bodice in a smaller size to fit her as well. And I'm so excited because that footage is just to die for. It's so beautiful, but please stick around to see how I made the dress as well as telling you guys what it's about. And I hope you guys enjoy, and I'm so glad you're here, and I'm sorry that I kept you waiting. Technically, you had no idea you were waiting a whole year for this, but it's finally here, so please enjoy. I don't really know who I am lately, to be honest. Somewhere along the way, it feels like I've lost myself. I find myself crying, looking at the person that I see in the mirror. And I don't mean to sound dramatic, it's just true. I feel like I'm crying out, maybe to myself, to find her, find the girl that I used to be. And I think maybe it happens to a lot of us, we kind of just lose ourselves as we age. I feel like over time I've just put on all of these layers upon layers upon layers. I wanted to make a dress that represented those layers. I wanted the skirt to be layers of tulle. You'll see as I make the dress. However, in this video, I didn't end up including the hooded cape you see me drawing or the off-the-shoulder sleeves either. The reason behind that is because I put this project on hold for a whole year, waiting to actually find myself along the way, and to be completely honest, I'm still on that journey. You could consider this a part 1, and I hope to share the rest of it as well as make the music video that I've imagined to the song that I can't share in this because I want to share the song later, but I wanted to share the drawing portion and sewing nonetheless because it's still a part of the journey and a part of the design and idea and the story. At the end, you'll see a simplified version revealed, but the story remains true. I hope it can help someone who might be struggling the same. I chose black because, well, black to me represents mourning, and sometimes it feels like I'm mourning the loss of who I used to be. And it's really hard to explain to people, but we all have our unique journeys, and this is just a part of my unique journey. Ultimately, I hope that sharing my story, no matter what part of my story it is, that I will let people know you're not alone. So if you're on a journey to find yourself, then just know so am I. This part of my story is the part where I realized that I lost myself. And it's really hard to explain, but for me, it was also losing the way I looked, the way I felt, the way I presented myself. I stopped taking care of myself over time in the same way that I did when I wasn't feeling the way that I feel. And I'm not really proud of this part of my life, but at the same time, I feel like a part of healing is being able to just be honest with yourself and figure out where you lost yourself along the way. So, as I figured that out, I just want to go back in time and share with you what happened to me over the course of time and why I feel like I lost myself. It's interesting watching myself 1 year ago, knowing that at the time I was trying to really truly find myself. And 1 year later, I feel like a lot has happened for sure, but I'm still struggling in some of my other problems that I just can't seem to let go of. One of the biggest problems that I have, honestly, is my addiction to food. And I feel like I'm definitely not the only one, and I know a lot of people can really understand it, but it has really, truly brought me down. It's so hard to stop myself from wanting to go for all of these junk food items that are so easy because they're right there in the checkout aisle, or just while trying to figure out where this all stemmed from. Where did I suddenly turn to food to deal with my problems? I actually did go on this little journey after I made this dress. There's a lot that has happened in the past year, and a part of that was just trying to figure out when and where did my need for food to help me through stressful times start. So upon searching and searching through my history and looking through photos and videos to see the change in my face and in my body, I pinpointed everything back to 2016. In 2016, I had my very first breakup. The person it was with wasn't necessarily that significant. I think what happened is I actually built this image in my head that I was only ever going to have one relationship, which put a lot of pressure on my first relationship. I was really careful. I actually just stayed his friend and really thought through before he ended up suggesting a relationship. I really wish he didn't, but I can't go back in time and stop that from happening because past me just really wanted to know what it was like. The thing is that little did he know and little did I realize that if he broke up with me, which he definitely did, I would be losing everything that I waited and prayed for. And I did this probably because I'm a perfectionist, but I just thought it would be the coolest thing to only have ever had one relationship. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself because I just really only wanted one relationship. I thought that would be like the coolest, cutest story to tell, that I never made a mistake. But unfortunately, it did happen. And I realized that I took that breakup so hard because everything that I worked for, prayed for, waited for, felt lost and ruined, that I will never, ever in my life get to say that my first relationship was my last. I didn't realize this though, literally until last year in 2024. That means it took 8 years for me to make that connection. And when I did make that connection, it made sense why I took it so hard, because he wasn't even really that great in a relationship. And I realized it had nothing to do with him as a specific person and everything to do with me and the life that I wanted and desired. I had to come to terms with the reality and with the truth, and so finding myself meant facing those problems. I even decided to reach out to him, hoping that maybe I could just find peace with him and apologize, saying, hey, I put a lot of pressure on this and I just realized this years and years later. This is someone I hadn't talked to in a very long time. Unfortunately, he didn't realize that I was just seeking peace, and he took it the wrong way and blocked me, but that's okay. Sorry, it's just a funny part of the story. But anyway, let's move on. Realizing that I'm probably never going to get the peace with that person to at least ask for forgiveness for how I reacted at the very end. I was very hurt. I guess it's understandable. No big deal. It was my first breakup, first relationship. Also, that was my first time doing that. I just thought you could just snap it right then and there. Well, it's been a year. Trust me, I already have easier methods. I kind of twisted open and cut smaller, tiny parts of the spiral boning. Should I just say nothing and it's like different hands?
Why is that one so hard?
You want to take two? Just kidding. Anyway, thank you, hubby, at the time for helping me, although I think we both made it more complicated, but anyway, back to my story. As weird as it may sound, I feel like I kind of needed to see his horrible behavior after all these years of not speaking, how he didn't care for any peace or any conversation. It actually kind of added to the whole thing. It showed me that that person never actually cared about me, and that the pain that I was feeling wasn't because I really missed that person, but was because my plan was ruined. And I thought to myself, perhaps I held on so tightly because I really wanted that story. But if I had that story, maybe I could have never empathized with people who have been hurt or rejected. And I had to remind myself that maybe sometimes it's better when we can actually empathize and understand people. The more that I go through, the more that I can relate to someone. And there are a lot of things in my life that I thought I would never do or would never happen to me because I would be super, super careful. But you can't really control your life as easily as I thought that I could. I couldn't control that relationship and his choices. Am I glad that he broke up? Yes, I'm very glad, because I was just determined to have a perfect record. And that took away from actually seeing if he would have been good for me. Finding myself became this journey of figuring out when I lost myself. I feel like that's the best place to start. And I think that I lost myself in 2016. I met my now husband late 2017, about a year and a half after all of that happened. And the interesting and most amazing part about my husband and who he is he never once made me feel rejected. That was a feeling that I had never experienced before. I was rejected for 3 years from the person that ended up dating me for 7 months after the 3 years of rejection. I didn't even know what it was like for someone to genuinely like me until my husband. And it's been a really long journey trying to find myself, but I finally became so comfortable, extremely comfortable in a relationship and around a person that I actually had time to think about, who am I? Who am I today? Who am I now? Like, what have I learned after all this time? So I'm really thankful, because even though it meant randomly reaching out to an ex-relationship like 6 years later, or however long it was, I was so comfortable and confident, and I am comfortable and confident in my current and only real relationship because I felt secure. I wasn't afraid to just go out and try to figure out what I needed to do. I thought that maybe having a conversation with this person in my past would help me find peace, and even though I didn't get to talk to him about it all, I still ended up finding that peace, because now I know and am fully aware that I was just upset to have ruined a perfect record. But I have since changed my mindset, well, as best as I can, and reminded myself that because of the heartbreak back then, I finally can actually understand people when they go through heartbreak. You never know when you're going to meet someone who's just going to completely hurt you and ruin your plans, if you will. I just think that if I didn't go through that, would I just be a person that people looked at and thought, oh, she wouldn't understand because everything works out great for her? Well, reality is not everything works out great for me. I've endured a lot of trials, and the positive side to all of that is I'm not going to judge other people, and I know how hard life can be, and I want to team up with people and say, like, let's just figure this out together. Let's fight life together, as cheesy as that sounds. After discovering all of that reality that I was holding without even knowing it for so many years, I did feel a lot lighter. That I realized that after that breakup, I turned to food at that time. I solved my problems by going to Taco Bell or getting a Pepsi at the local marketplace down the street. And I'm not proud of that at all, but I also understand myself. I was just trying to survive like a lot of us are. And I thought that if I could just numb the pain by eating ice cream or slurping down my daily Pepsi from 7-Eleven, or watching Catfish with my old roommate Samantha. Shout out to Samantha, she sometimes watches my videos. That girl was seriously an answered prayer that I didn't even know I prayed. She was there for me during the breakup, and even though she was eating the Taco Bell with me, I know that I definitely needed her. I still have a little bit of a sweet tooth, just a tiny, big sweet tooth. But I do feel better knowing that I was just trying to survive like many other people have tried, and it's not really my fault. All right, let's keep going. So as you can see, as I've been making this dress, I've been adding tulle layers. I had them about 3 inches apart, and I did about 5, I believe, separate layers. Each layer was higher and higher on the skirt lining that I had, and then the top layer was the longest. And I actually separated each section by how many inches they are, and I had it all organized, which I didn't show on there, but anyway, this was a really long process, but I'm just saying, if you haven't done a tulle skirt like this before, you really need to do it, because it is one of those, it's so much work, so much tulle, very complicated, but then when you're done and you look at it, you think to yourself, oh my gosh, that's so rewarding, like, it's done. Also, as written in the little text here, I was going to put a sheer fabric over the skirt because I thought maybe that would match the robe, but then later I nixed that plan. I'm still showing it just because it was a part of me making things, and I'm doing a French seam right here, and also because if you haven't seen my wandering dress and heard that story or saw the making of the dress, I actually used this in that project. So fun fact, this is a piece of a future project I had no idea that I was going to use for. Oh, and here we have a size small version of the bodice. I actually made it in this brocade, I believe. Is that what it's? No, jacquard. Jacquard. Is that how you say it? Okay, but I made it in this beautiful fabric for my friend to wear in her size, but it's pretty much the same exact bodice. It's just me like a year later, like 30 pounds more, and cutting up all the pieces. And well, we're already at the end of the making of the dress, so I truly hope you guys love it as much as I love it. And also shout out to my friend Darian, who modeled the dress for me. She is honestly such a godsend, and I'm so happy that she was able to be the one to show off this dress, and hopefully in the future I can show it off with myself. I truly hope you guys love this dress as much as I do. I know it seems a little simple because of not being able to do the off the shoulder sleeves or the music video yet, but I feel like it's just a start to telling this story. The story is still going, and I'm just so thankful that I was able to go to this beautiful beach down in Southern Oregon on these cliffs. I love where I live, and I'm so happy that I'm here. Also, I'm so grateful for my friend Darian for being the model. She sometimes reminds me a little bit of who I used to be, and I just find that really fitting to show off the dress, almost like I could still see me somehow in her. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you enjoyed that. It was so fun filming with my friend and going to the cliffs in Oregon. I'm just gonna call them the cliffs because that's what they are over there. Just the most gorgeous, beautiful spot. We really wish it was cloudy and gloomy and moody, but it was very, very sunny and bright. So I'll probably go back sometime and also hope that there's wind next time. But we were a little bit limited because we needed to make sure the dog was okay, and actually I didn't show her dog, and maybe I'll insert a little clip really quickly, but I had no idea that when I was filming the faraway shots that her dog was in the corner with my bag, and I'm like, why did I not notice our stuff and the dog right there? It was so funny. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and please stick around. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because I'm finally editing through some projects that I've been working on behind the scenes, and I'm hoping to start another really big one to come out after all of those edited videos are posted. So we have a couple more dresses after this that I've already made, and then I will be getting into making something new, and it's just going to be an exciting rest of the year. So if you're in it to win it, hit subscribe, stick around, and I'll see you guys next time.